Hello and welcome to Creatives Like Us, where I speak with creatives of colour who share journeys and stories and ideas and how they can inspire and open up avenues in creative industries. I'm your host, graphic designer Angela Lyons, and with the help of my guests, I will bring you insightful interviews and compelling stories that can inspire you to think about things differently or shape your next move. Being a creative of colour can bring its challenges, highs and lows and in-betweens. But this podcast is about amplifying our voices and celebrating together. So, are you ready? Let's get started with Creatives Like Us. Morning, Dominique. Thank you so much for joining me today. I feel really honoured and blessed to have you here today and talking to me. So thank you so much for being here today, and I really appreciate it.
I'm honoured to be the first, part of the first recording, and this is big stuff.
I've been talking about it for a while, haven't we? And I'm just like, I'm going to do it now. Let's do it. And especially it's Black History Month this month in October in the UK. So I really wanted to make sure that at least I got the first episode recorded during Black History Month, even though it might get released later on down the line. But it's good to get it out now today and talk to you here. Thank you again for joining me.
No, it's my absolute pleasure. Like, I think from meeting earlier this year and then getting to know you a little bit and then, being a guest on your podcast, peak.
Brilliant. So let's start. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell me where you are in the world and what type of creative are you?
Yeah, so my name is Dominique van Werkhoven and I'm originally a London girl, so Southeast London, but now living in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and got there via France, via Austria. So it's been a few places, but now in Rotterdam. And I'm a writer. So I run a small business with my husband called The Werks, and it's content and web development for small businesses and nonprofits. And my side is really the writing, all the writing that goes on the website, all the writing that comes on social media. That's what I do for clients. And I also have aspirational writer in the sense I'd love to write a book one day. So that's also on my list to do.
Interesting. Brilliant. So what type of writing at the moment? You said your book to do. Are you actually doing personal writing for yourself at the moment, or is it mainly focused on work, or is it a bit of both? Or how would you say that you're using your creative juices? I know obviously we've got to work and we've got to pay the bills, so we've got to write for money.
Yes.
But is there anything in your personal life that you love doing?
So I think I've always really enjoyed writing. My background is also that I worked in nonprofit for a while, and I ended up often doing the newsletters. It wasn't necessarily even part of the job, but then because we needed the newsletter, I was like, I'll do it. And so I've been actually writing for a long time. And I think up until now, most of my focus has been on kind of writing professional capacity. But about 3 years ago, I think, I did a project on Insta and basically brought together, I think, about 30 different creatives. So they were illustrators or musicians, spoken word artists, all that stuff. And I brought them together. I was like, I want to do an Advent project. And so I will write 4 different Advent blogs, and then each of them can represent something from that blog. So I want to use my creative juices and I want to write stuff, but I want to bring others with me. And so that was a really fun project that I did.
That's amazing. Was that just via web and Instagram, or was it?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. The idea came in the summer, and then I was like, okay, I have to put it all together, contact everybody in my network, all the artists in my network, and be like, do you want to join in? Or if they had something already, I thought, are you happy for me to use this in this project?
Brilliant.
And lots of people said yes, to my surprise.
Oh, that's excellent. That's really interesting, because that's what I want to do with this podcast, is bring the creatives together and talk about our work. Yeah. And that's great that you did that. Is it still online if people wanted to see it?
Yeah,
go and view it somewhere?
I mean, the Insta account is still around, so it's called Nomad61. So that's still running. But I think I did that project and I was like, okay,
I'm done. That's it.
I'm done.
Really?
But hopefully, I think the idea of rekindling something similar, or at least when it comes to my writing as well, is definitely there. And I think the idea, the collaboration and how you can bring people in, that's really stuck with me. So I think even when I pursue my own kind of personal creative writing, there's always going to be a part of me that says, okay,
who can you bring along? Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's great, because it is about bringing other people along and making other people rise too. And and also it's good company. Otherwise, sometimes when you're doing these things by yourself, it's quite lonely, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And somebody brings a different perspective or a different element that you might have missed. And so that's really lovely to do it together. And you at least there's somebody who's going to see. There's the two of us who are going to see the stuff. So.
And we've got friends. We can show our friends.
Where would you make progress?
Exactly. So you say you've obviously loved always writing. Was that part of your education to do writing? Did you actually train, like, I suppose, educational wise? Was that part of a secondary school degree level, or where did you train?
Yeah, my educational background is in law. So I studied at Oxford. I did a BA in law with French law. And so there's a lot of writing involved with that, like lots of essays, a lot of reading. You have to think about, for this area of law, like how do I want to structure my essay and the arguments that I have. And I think from a really young age, like I really enjoyed writing. I was often found with my notebook or making up stories. And I think just the practice over the years has been something that I have kept doing. And then the more you write, the better it becomes. So the more experience I have helping other people write. And one of the things I got to do was a friend or a contact was writing a book, and she was like, could you please read the few chapters for me and just give me your feedback on those chapters? And I really noticed how much I enjoyed that process, to be like, well, what's the message? And maybe if you phrased it this way, it would really lift it up a little bit or have more of an impact. By doing that, you also learn to become a better writer, because you're having to think about, well, what's the message here? And what worked really well here? What didn't? And how can I then put that into my own writing?
It's funny, you mentioned Oxford. I'm always in awe of people that go to Oxford or Cambridge and like Yale or Harvard. It's just like, obviously it's the creme de la creme of universities.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then people, when you get there, people say, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's okay. Just obviously, because this is a podcast, talk to people of colour. What was your experience like at Oxford? Because I know that being in England, it can be quite a place where you are the minority. I know that I was when I was at Central, and that really stood out for me. It didn't bother me too much at the time. I actually know it bothered other people that were Black and studying at the same time. Did you have any experiences that were positive, negative, or was it just okay?
Yeah, I think at my actual time at Oxford, you're aware that you're the only one, or in my whole year group. So there were, I think, I don't know, like if you have your first year school,
the
like
alumni photo.
Yeah. And then you see like like the first year, here are all our first years. And there are two of us in, I think it must be at least, I don't know, 100 or more students.
I was in 96 and I think there was about 4 of us.
Yeah. So you're aware, like it's not hard to find, like you have the whole picture, like where are you? Oh, there I am. And I think, honestly, I wasn't necessarily busy with it the whole time. But there's definitely a sense of like, when people are like, oh, what clubs are you joining? Are you going to join the like Afro-Caribbean Society? And it's like almost that automatic assumption, like, there's nothing else
that you're interested in.
Like, oh, you must be a part of that. And I was like, yeah, I am. But there's also, I'm really into this, or I enjoy this.
The crochet club or the tennis club or something.
And that was interesting, just the like kind of natural assumptions.
Was that assumptions by other Black students or both, or white students?
No, not really. The Black students were more like, okay, we're going, or maybe you want to come. But there was never an assumption from them that's the only clubs that I would be involved in. It was more from others. They were like, oh, that'll make you feel really that'll make you feel really home. We're like, yeah, it's important to have these spaces, but I think there's a risk that it becomes limiting. So people only expect you to be in those spaces and not to see you and others. So I think that was often the thing for me was, okay, how do you turn up in spaces that people don't expect you to, but without becoming the token person? And it was funny because I think in my first or second year, I got an email like, oh, we're making photos for the new prospectus. Would you be interested in being involved? Like, oh, fun, like being in the prospectus. But then it was like, I was on the front cover, I was on the law page, I was on the poster at the admissions office.
You were the it girl.
And it was just like, I mean, and for my friends, it was just a funny thing. Like, Dominique, how is your face everywhere? For this, like for 1 year.
Yeah.
But then for my granddad, it was huge because he was like, I think he asked me, can you get a few
Oh,
copies?
he's proud of you.
Because
Of
yeah,
course.
I'm going to show my friends.
Yeah,
And he
of course.
lives in Guyana. So he was like, show your friends. But it was, again, you have this, yes, we want to display our diversity. We want to show that Oxford is a place for Black people to come and Black students to thrive and to enjoy. But at the same time, like there really isn't, there aren't that many. So once we found one, we're going to use that.
Yeah. But also we could see the flip side of it where it's also an encouragement thing to other Black students joining or wanting to join, thinking, oh, actually, there is somebody there that looks like me, or there are people there that I will feel comfortable here. And again, with the societies, at least they can go to those societies if they feel like they need to talk to somebody. So in a way, it's like, yeah, of course they were using you as the, here she is. Also on the flip, as I said, on the flip side, it's also good for prospective students to actually come and see.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that happened because I was at a wedding and one of the, like a year younger than me, she came up to me and was like, oh, can my dad meet you? I was like, okay, because he saw you on the prospectus on the cover, and he's so like, sweet. He really wants to meet you because for him it was a big deal to see other Black people at Oxford and to know that his daughter who's going there, who's also Black, like, okay, there's space for you and you're going to be okay. And she's actually gone on to do amazing things. Like, she is the head of a big organization and I see her a lot in the public eye, and she's doing a lot for STEM, and it's amazing. But it's cool to know, like, oh, because of that bit of representation, because somebody was able to see themselves on the cover of the prospectus, it made it feel easier for them to step into that space. And I did a lot of work with Access. So they're like kind of trying to bring inner city young people to Oxford to help them to see, this is not just for a certain type of people, it's for everybody. And I remember lots of the young people saying, oh, but there aren't a lot of Black people, so we can't go. And I was like, if we all keep saying that,
it's never going to happen. Yeah.
There won't be. So we need to like step into it. And the more we step into it, the more others can follow. And so I think there's this double side of being the first and like stepping into a space where you're really noticeable and you maybe feel a little bit alone or having to deal with certain assumptions. But I'm like, once that barrier has been broken and that door's been opened a little bit, it means it can open a bit more, and then more and more people can see themselves.
It could just take that one thing, couldn't it? I know that I've spoken to people in the past when I've been on work photo shoots or something like that, and there was a guy there who was a photographer, and he was the assistant. And I said to him, I'll just point to the side, and I was doing the art direction of it, and I just put to the side, and it was a Black guy, and I said, oh, why are you the assistant? You're really good. Why are you? I've seen your work. Why are you not the photographer? Why are you still the assistant? And he was like, oh, not too sure about this. And then years later, he saw me on LinkedIn or something like that. And he texted me and he said, if it wasn't for you talking to me that day, I wouldn't have thought to do my own thing. And I've seen this guy like doing stuff for like beauty brands. And I'm just like, you see that? It's just like that one conversation and you don't know who that touches. Is there anyone in your work life or even personal life that's made you change direction? Like, I call it like the catalyst connection. So just like you think, oh my God, they've actually spoke to me and I've done something amazing. It's moved on to my next path of my career or my life. Is there anyone in your world that's actually done that for you where you think that's actually quite major and I've got to remember them for that?
Yeah, I think I've got a couple of people. And I think it's interesting because the more that we've gone into freelance life or having a small business, there's a lot of, inside work. So you start to realize things about yourself. And then it's remembering, oh yeah, like that seed was actually planted not 2 years ago when we started the business, but when I was still a child. And one of the people is my godmother. She's passed away now, but she was like one of the biggest champions of me telling stories. And so like I would go to have sleepovers at her place and her kids would be like, no, not Dominique. So she would be like, look, come and stay with me because the others just didn't want me there. But then she would like sit up with me and listen to these stories that I'd made and always encourage me and always but tell me more. And how does that work? I just felt really taken seriously by her, age 5. But I was like, oh yeah, I have something to say. And I think now, fast forward, when there's so much influence around the world that you can think, oh, who am I to say something? I've got nothing to say. She always encouraged me to use my voice and actually took the time to listen. So I think she was one of them. The other one is my secondary school teacher, my English secondary school teacher, because he actually sat down with me to do my application for Oxford. And it was interesting because there was a special group that was invited at my school to apply to Oxford or Cambridge. They would get to do things like learn to play bridge or go to the theatre and all this stuff. But I wasn't invited to be in that group because there was not a belief that I was an Oxbridge candidate. Oh. So there's this group and you're like, okay, fine. But then this English teacher was like, you're going to apply, aren't you? And I was like, oh no, because I haven't been invited to the group. He was like, you've got 6 choices. We're going to make it one of yours. And because the Oxbridge applications need to be in a little bit earlier, he was like, we're gonna work on it. Like, you're gonna bring me your personal statement, let me read it, we're gonna go through it. And so he met with me and one other student to work through our applications. Both of us had not been invited to the kind of special program.
The Bridge Club.
The Bridge Club and the Latin Club. But this teacher saw us and he said, I'm gonna support you. We're gonna work on your application. And I think, if, again, this kind of somebody seeing you and seeing your potential, and that for me, he's like, I still remember to this day. And also my application, I wrote it. I remember I had a quote, like few people can change the world. It's the only thing that has. Like very idealistic. And he was like,
was that your own quote?
But it was from Marianne Williamson, I think. Okay. And I was like, am I allowed to put that in there because it doesn't feel very academic? Or it's no, like that shows who you are and like why you want to study law, and we'll work that phrase in. And I loved it because he didn't try to take it out. He just was like, okay, how are we going to use it to present a strong application? Yeah, like it's okay to be creative, even though ones that are very formally written, but you can be creative with it and it's okay. This beginning of this year, of course, because I think we met on LinkedIn, right? And then I contacted you, oh, hi, or you contacted me afterwards. Hey, I saw you had a chat with Kaylee and I'd love to have a chat with you. And we said, okay, this year, we're going to be more visible. Like we're going to apply for podcasts and we're going to do all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't, this is Ange. Like she can do all this.
I'm like going to you for the support too.
And then watching you, but also being invited by you to be and being included by you and the encouragement, both publicly but also privately. I think, like this has been for me personally a really big encouragement and reminder to take up space and to be who you are as you are, and to try, and it's okay to be different. But so I think seeing that professionally and then being in our little group where we can send messages and encourage each other and be like, oh, here's a frustration or here's a challenge. I think, that has been, there are other Black creatives, Black business owners, and I can plug in here and it's not restrictive.
Oh, that's brilliant. Wow.
That was a long answer to your question.
I think it's a good answer. It's like, it's really, really nice. It's also good to talk to other, especially business owners, because as I said, sometimes we'll be very lonely and we just support each other and just chat with each other and just help as much as we can, really. So I'm all about helping if I can, some way or other. So I just want to ask about what you're working currently now. What is your project with the Werks? Is there one big project or one project that you love doing right now? Or who would you love to work with right now?
Yeah, those are such good questions. Like currently our focus is wanting to support smaller businesses, freelancers who would love to have their website to show up online, but are just a little bit nervous. So basically we're us 2 years ago, and we build websites in WordPress. The tech side is definitely off-putting for a lot of people. So one thing we're really working on and hoping we'll have ready by the end of this year is an easy access WordPress template that people can just put their content in.
Oh, so people can buy a template, like a small business or a freelancer, and would buy the template from you, and you've created it yourself, and then they can set up. So basically a quick, easy setup for them for their business.
Yeah, so the idea is that it's a little bit DIY, but then as a support, like I would provide kind of guidance. Okay, this is going to be your headline. Here are some things to think about what you might put as your headline. Here's what you're going to maybe for your footer. These are different components that you need to think about when you're writing. So I think so what we would do, or what we're going to do, is have a kind of like guidebook, which will help them know, okay, this is going to be your headline. Here's what you should think about for your headline. This is what's going to be in your footer on your 404 page. These are the different components that are going to go into your website. Here's what you should think about, because we've noticed, especially with the like services like coaching or psychologists, they tend to want to write their own content because lots of them are kind of writers, or they feel like they're kind of good with words. Yeah. But then the danger is is that
They
they're
write a
so good
thesis.
with words. Their
They write a
websites.
thesis.
I'm like doing my hands here, like expand to show the expansion, but they have a lot to say and want to write a lot. How can you condense that down? Save your longer articles and essays for a blog post maybe, but even then think about how you're formatting it, because one big block of text is quite off-putting. So don't forget spaces and just something they can refer to, especially in the beginning. You don't necessarily have the budget to work with a copywriter on your stuff, or you want to do it yourself, or just having some insights to guide your writing so that it doesn't become overwhelming and too much. So with the ideas that when you buy the template, you also get this kind of guidebook, and you also cover some things like about hosting and domain name and all those kind of stuff. And then we'll also offer one where you can book us in for an hour or two to talk you through stuff. And it's great, but it also takes a lot of work.
Yeah, of course, because I suppose it's building a pipeline, isn't it? That could be also a bit of passive income. So it's just, obviously you've got to work hard for it, but it's there on the side that you can actually decide and people can buy it, download it, and then you'll carry on with your day to day. But it's such a good idea. So I will put a link in notes so people can go and have a look at that later.
Keep everybody updated.
Brilliant,
and then next to that, like, so I mentioned this idea of wanting to write a book for myself. And so that's my project that I'm working on in the spare time. I'm laughing because I'm like, spare time.
Spare time, what is that?
3 children and you're running your own business. Yeah, okay. I love the ambition. Keep the dream alive.
Keep the ambition. Keep it alive.
Small bits. And I think that's really helpful for me, because doing those little small bits of where I'm working on my kind of passion project, where it's not necessarily, at least not now, for any income. It's not to serve an audience that I have that's waiting for content from me. Being able to build it and to take my time with it.
And there's also no client pressure because you are the client.
And I think so that's really fun to do. And then to think about, okay, how are you going to then, is it going to be a newsletter form, just to start getting the writing out there? And I think I'd like to think also that by indulging in my own creativity, that's going to also flow into how I write for others, because it's not going to be just only like technical tick. Oh, I thought this is a fun idea from something completely unrelated. How can we bring that into this field? And I think that's one of the things I love about diversity, is that you can take things that already exist from different cultures and you're like, oh, let's bring that in here and let's weave it in. Or have you heard this? Like, this person speaks so well about this or writes this so well about that. How can we incorporate that into kind of a complete unrelated field, but that kind of adds a new dimension?
Yeah.
And so, combining that, like my own creative pursuits with writing for others, I think it can only be a good thing.
That's exactly, and it keeps your creative juices flowing and just keeps you going. Yeah, I love that you said about diversity and seeing things in different areas, because we forget sometimes that there are so many different aspects we can draw on, and we just need to pull them in and just use those in our work, even day to day, our creativity. And it's just like, oh, I love that. I'd love to know if you had to write a little note to yourself when you were, say, secondary school, what would you say in that note? So a note to yourself.
Yeah, I think what I would, because I remember at that age being so aware of other people's opinions and what's the right way to do things. And I think I would tell, my little note would be like, you'll find your own way. Fitting in is overrated.
It's
so overrated. And when you feel that uncomfortable feeling when you don't fit in, like, breathe through it and keep going.
That's amazing. Yeah, that is so true. That is such a good point, especially at that age. And you just think that you're not going to fit into this group or that group, or even that Oxford application. Like, you didn't think that it was going to happen, and you just went through it, did the process, and look where you are today. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yes, look where you are today. Teachers that encouraged and.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're ending up, and this is going to be on every episode. I'm going to do quick fire questions, and it's just you have to answer one of them. Quick fire 5 questions are, starting with crisp or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Beach or forest?
Beach. Come on.
Book or Kindle?
Book. It has to be a real book.
Book. You want to feel the pages? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Reggae or soul?
Reggae. Soul. Reggae. That's impossible. Like, what's your favourite child? No, okay, I'm going to go for soul. I'm going to go for soul because that's what you're belting out in the shower. That's
True
like
soul. Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely. Patty or sandwich?
Patty, every time.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Dominique, for being my first guest today. And can you tell people where they can find you online, your website and your social media handles?
Yes, happy to. So we are on Insta as We Are The Works, and LinkedIn is my name, Dominique van Werkhoven, and the website is theworks.nl.
Brilliant. Netherlands. Cool. And I love the way that you spell the Werks, because it also has a little play on your surname. So that is Werks, just to let people know. But obviously that will be again in the notes. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No, my pleasure. And I'm really looking forward to listening to the episodes that are coming. This is a fun project, and so well done.
Oh, thank you. Let me start by giving thanks. Thank you for tuning in to Creatives Like Us. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it thought-provoking, inspiring and entertaining. If you did, it would absolutely make my day if you could share, subscribe, rate, review, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, if you have a question or a comment, I'd love to hear from you. All the ways to connect are in the notes. Until next time, keep being creative like us.